So, get this. How can a squabble over a few local government jobs literally threaten to blow up one of the most critical shipping lanes in the world? It sounds crazy, right? But that's exactly what's brewing in the Horn of Africa. We're talking about a tiny spark in a super remote district that could ignite a massive global firestorm. So yeah, let's break this whole thing down. I know, it sounds like a major stretch. A handful of local jobs, and suddenly the whole world's security is on the line? How does that even work? Well, as we're about to see, this is a region that's just incredibly interconnected. You've got these ancient clan ties woven together with super modern, high-stakes shipping routes. And when you have that kind of setup, the smallest little tremor in just the right spot, well, it can trigger a massive earthquake. Okay, so here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll start big picture, looking at the crisis across the whole region. Then we're going to zoom way in on a really controversial geopolitical deal that's in the works. From there, we'll get even more specific, pinpointing the exact local issue that's fueling all this tension. And finally, we'll pull back out to see how all these tiny little pieces connect to create a huge, dangerous puzzle. All right, first up, the story really kicks off in a room full of leaders who are, frankly, facing a ton of problems. Tensions across the entire Horn of Africa are already bubbling just under the surface. But now, there's this new threat coming from the north, and it's forcing everyone to the table for a super urgent, high-stakes meeting. So our sources are telling us that the leaders of Djibouti, Ethiopia, and Somalia got together for this emergency summit. And what's their biggest fear? What's keeping them up at night? It's the idea that all the conflict and chaos that's been raging in the Middle East isn't going to stay put. They're terrified it's about to spill right over the Red Sea and bring all that violence and instability directly to their doorstep.
And right at the center of all this anxiety is this incredibly bold, super risky geopolitical chess move. Seriously, we're talking about a plan to build a brand new strategic military base literally on the doorstep of one of the most volatile places on the planet.
Okay, before we go any further, there's one really important thing you need to know for any of this to make sense, and that's Somaliland. So here's the deal. It declared independence from Somalia more than 30 years ago. It has its own government, its own currency. It basically acts like its own country. But, and this is the huge but, not a single other country in the world officially recognizes it as a sovereign state. And that one thing, that desperate quest for recognition, it's the key that unlocks this entire story.
And, when you look at the map, you realize that geography is just everything in a situation. Just look at Somaliland's coastline. It sits right across the Gulf of Aden from Yemen. I mean, it's right there. And that closeness to Houthi-controlled territory makes it an unbelievably valuable piece of real estate for any global power that's trying to keep those vital Red Sea shipping lanes safe.
So here's the rumored deal that's on the table, according to our source material. It's actually pretty simple. Israel gets to build a military base in the port city of Berbera, and in return, Somaliland gets the one thing it wants more than anything else in the world: official diplomatic recognition. It seems like a simple trade, but the political fallout, wow, it could be absolutely monumental for the entire region. But man, the risks here are just massive. You can totally see why the regional leaders are freaking out. A deal like this could put Israel on a collision course with Turkey, which is a huge supporter of Somalia. Then you've got the risk of pulling in other major players, like Iran. And the source points out something really important. Somaliland doesn't have a lot of powerful friends or a big military. They could get completely crushed in the middle of all this. The entire conflict map of the region could just explode.
But here's the crazy part. This huge, grand, geopolitical deal might not be blown up by some foreign superpower. Nope, it could be completely undone by a fight that's brewing inside Somaliland itself. So let's zoom in even closer, down to a region called Adal.
Okay, so if you look at the map here, we can see exactly where the trouble is starting. It's this Avdal region, right on the border. Now, in Somali society, your clan is everything. It's like your family, your community, your political party all rolled into one. And historically, Avdal has been the home of the Gadabursi clan. But you can see it's right up against the territory of another powerful clan, the Ise. For a long time, there's been a delicate balance, but that balance, well, it's starting to fall apart. And this is what it looks like on the ground in Adal. It might look pretty calm, but don't let that fool you. Just beneath the surface, these local political complaints are reaching a serious boiling point. And you have to remember, this is the exact area that would need to be completely stable and secure for a foreign military base to even think about operating. And this just lays out the core problem perfectly.
right from the source material. It's an alleged systematic takeover of the local government in one district, Silac. I mean, look at this. All the key jobs, we're talking police commander, intelligence commander, even the guy in charge of elections, all of them are said to have been taken from the Gadabursi clan and given to the Ise clan. And all this happened in less than a year. So what this all boils down to, and the source material is really clear on this, is a feeling of being politically erased. The Gadabusi clan feels like they're being pushed out entirely. And that feeling, that alleged marginalization, is creating this deep anger and instability right in the exact spot where that potential military base would need total, absolute security.
Okay, so let's pull the camera back out. It's time to connect the dots between this very local power struggle and the huge global chessboard. So how on earth does a fight over a few local jobs actually threaten international security? Let's trace out the ripple effect.
This right here, this is the chain reaction. It's like a line of dominoes. It all starts with that feeling of political marginalization down in the Abdal region. That tips over the next domino. Instability, right on a super strategic border. That instability, in turn, threatens to wreck any potential military base deal. And if that deal falls apart, or if a base gets built in a hostile area, boom, that directly impacts the ability of the world's major powers to keep the Red Sea safe. Just like that, a local fight becomes a massive global problem.
And that really brings us to the final big question, doesn't it? This whole situation in the Horn of Africa is just such a powerful reminder that the line between local and global is getting thinner and thinner every single day. It really makes you wonder, in a world that's this interconnected, can we really afford to look at any conflict anywhere and think to ourselves, that's someone else's problem?